Now that you have a better understanding of the HTML, it's a great time to practice building a complete HTML page. In this project, we will imply all the knowledge we have gained to create the HTML homepage shown in this example. Before we get started on this project, it is important to understand a few things. This page will be built strictly in HTML to give you additional practice with coding. Since we have not yet covered complete this course, so this style of document we use to build this page will not be the most efficient. For example, will be the using inline style formatting which is considered outdated. In the southeast portion of this course will create the much more effective pages layout that are responsive with the mobile devices. Using only HTML, we are limited in certain respects when it comes to format and layout of our page. Without complete this course, we will need to insert all our objects inside a table rows in column. As we have mentioned earlier, using table in layout container has becoming a thing of the past. Thought to keep in mind that understanding how to work with table is still important when working our Tabular data. Aside from that, we will be implying many useful skills that will carry forward just as object insertion, text formatting, form deployment and basic styling. The first section of this page will build is the header, which contains the navigation labels. To get started, create a new file and save the file on your computer. You can name the file whatever you like. Also create your basic HTML page structure is shown here. Since this entire header is netted inside of a table, that's the first thing we will create. So start by creating a table and we will go over just in a second. I have created a table here and the width is 100%, so it will expand and contract with the web browser. The height is 60 pixels, 0 border cell padding of 5, so spacing of 5 and still padding of 5 as well. Give it a background color of black and so that the text code part is black. Inside this table, create a single table rule. Inside this row, create a single table column and give it align attribute set to left. So anything contained in this column will be aligned to the left. Okay, so we have a table created with one row in one column. Inside this table, we are going to create a nested table. So this nested table have a fixed width of the 547 pixel. Border of 0 aligns is center element because we want all the links aligned in the middle. In this cell padding and the spacing of 1, now each link will need to be situated inside its own column. So we will have to create 5 columns inside this table. Here is the first column. It has the width of the 96 pixel. We also created the 4 attributes and set the face to Verdena, Genema and the sans serif. The color of the text will be a white and we have placed the label inside the H3 element so it gives it slightly larger font size. Then we will close the font and close the TD of the column. Now you will need to do this for all the remaining link labels. So it's the same code. The only difference is that the width for each column is slightly different because the some label are longer than the other of course, and the label is also different for each item. And that's how that the first section was created. So you can see it's very simple. With our header created, the next item we want to create is the callout bar and that contain our website name, also the phone number where we can be read. The entire section is contained within a table as well and the text item are contained in the nested table with the two columns. So let's go ahead and get started. Beneath our first table I am going to create any other table. So just like the first table I have given this table the width of 100%. So it expands and contrasts with the web browser. A height of 150 pixel, border of 0, cell spacing and the cell padding of 5 and the background color is light grey color and that's the hex code for the light green color. Next we will need to create a table row and inside this table row we will create a single table column and we'll align the text inside this column. We will give it a central line and so we have our table created. You can see the light grey background in this table have one row in a one column inside this column. We are going to nest the table that contain our text. So remember the nested table will have the two columns. So I have given this a table a width of the 708 pixel, border of 0, cell spacing and cell padding of 1 nest will create a table row and inside this table we'll need to create a two column. One column will contain my business's website and the second will contain the call as the today and the phone number. So this is the sentence for the first them. So the column has the width of the 338 pixel text aligned off the left. We have attached a font attribute so there are really nothing new going on here. We also added a strong tag around my business tag so it give it that broad look and create a break and then we website tag and then we have close of the column. Now we will create the second column which contain the phone number and it also moves the same thing so it's the column just a bit slightly different, it's just a bit smaller this time. The text is aligned to the right as you can see its alignment is one of the right here. Now we have attached this font attribute to call us to the dashboard and then the phone number. So there it is. With our cell bar created, the next thing we will do is insert a table that contains our main image. We will create this table under our callout table. Inside this table create a table row, and then inside the table row create a table, call them. Give this column an alignment, attribute SCC to center because we want the image to be in the center of the column. And then inside this column create a nested table and create a table row and insert the column that contains the image. Now this image can be found in your download folder. So you can use this image or you can use any other image of your choosing. So you can see we have given the column a center alignment attributes. We have inserted the image with a source attribute there to the image name. And remember to keep this image in the same folder that your HTML page is stored in and then set the width and height of the image as well. Now press refresh and you can see that the image is inserted. So with our image inserted, the next thing to do is to create a table that contains this bit of text here. We will create this table underneath our last table, then create a table row to create a table called. Here I have set the column the height to the 72 pixel horizontal alignment, the center in vertical alignment to the top. That means the text will start at the top of the column. Now we will create a nested table inside the column table row and then the column tag contain the actual text. So this column has the width of 776 pixel alignment of the center. We have attached to the font attribute to style the text and that's it. Just close the font tag and also close the column and refresh the page. The next thing to do here is to create this contact us today link and also the form to register for the newsletter. So we will go ahead and do that. So again we will start by creating a table to contain those sections. Let's start a table row. And inside this table we create a table column. This column gives us the height of 72 pixel, alignment of the center and vertical alignment of top. And this is what's going to hold the contact us today table. Inside this column create a table. So this table contains the orange background color that you see here. So this here the head code for that color. And we also set that the width of the 316 pixel, self-efficient and operating are 3 editables. Now create the column that hold the contact us to the text. And we have given this column a width of 301 pixels, center alignment and no wrap attributes, font color white, 5 size and the font page. We also attach the link. No, the link is just there, no sign because we don't want it to actually go anywhere. And so make sure you do attach the link using the element in the GF attribute surrounding the contact us today text. Refresh the page so we can see that the button is now here and the link is active. Now we will need to create any other table role. Inside this table, now a table column. Give the column the height of 72 pixel as well, alignment of the center and vertical alignment of the top. Inside this column we are going to have the heading for the form element, register for our newsletter, and underneath the heading we are going to have the actual form. So we are given the form, the name, content, method, post actions, and this will not work until we have created actually this end file. And again we are going to be covering that in the B session of this course if we are taking this the part of the web development masterclass. We have created an input or a test input and we have named email and we created a submit button as well. That is will be a flash. We now have our test heading and the form element with the button. So the next thing we want to do here is create this table, and the table has 3 columns and the 2 rows. In the first row we have the heading, in the second row we have some sample tests and also on other list. So go ahead and create that now. That will create this table underneath or last to start with the table tag. Create a table role or create a table called. Inside this table create a nested table. Now create any other table role. This role will contain our heading. And also just note that each heading in its own column. So here we have each column, and each column, the first 2 columns have a width of 268 pixels. The third one has a 290. We have attached to the phonetic attributes and we have just made the dashboard. And the remaining columns are almost identical. The only thing that different is the actual heading. So we have about us, our vision is services. Now we will need to create the second row which contain all these tags. So create the first column inside this row and then the second. In the third column which contain the list and the unordered list. So that's it. Once we have choose those columns inserted, we can refresh the page and we can see that everything is as it should be. The only thing that remains now is the footer. The last part of this page we need to create is the footer. And the footage again contain the navigation label and also the copyright line. So again we need to create a table at the end of our last one. This table has a background color of black. That's the head code for black. Now insert a table, roll inside this table, roll insert a call. Now just go ahead and insert the content inside this column. Also we have attached the find to attributes. We have inserted at the label so home, about, services, client and contact. And the right underneath that after outbreak we have inserted the copyright line. So that once we have saved this file and refresh, and we can see the footer is now there and the expand page, and you can see that the entire page has now come together. So that it's all about the HTML code.
Like, subscribe and press the bell icon of GetExcitement for future updates.